Assalamualaikum. I'm Ahmed O'Keefe, host of the NYCMC Business Incubator's virtual business program. Of course, you know the NYCMC. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization and home to one of the fastest growing Muslim communities in New York City, servicing more than 1,200 members every week. It houses the Isa ibn Maryam Masjid, the FCAD Institute, which teaches Arabic and Islamic studies, the Wellspring School, a full-time school for children, the NYCMC Foster Care program, the NYCMC Angels, providing COVID relief, the Hatebusters, a national anti-islamophobia campaign, and of course the Incubator program. Now, the goal of the Incubator program is to help provide the mentorship, expertise, and networking needed to help new and amplify current entrepreneurs. This virtual business program is aimed to help us sharpen our skills and business knowledge. It is a 10-week program. Tonight is session 4. We're going to have our speaker present for around 40 minutes, and then we're going to have about 20 minutes for Q&A. Tonight, we're going to try something a little different. I'm going to post in the YouTube chat towards the end of the 40 minutes a link to join us here on Zoom, because we're doing a Zoom meeting on this live right now. So you're going to be welcome to come join us in Zoom, ask your questions in person. We'll see how that works. You can also still, if Zoom doesn't work for you, drop them here in the YouTube chat, and we will pick them up from here and make sure that they get to the brother. So if you have any questions about the schedule, please refer to your email, as I've sent out a couple times the full schedule. So tonight we have brother Mohammed Bhutta. He is going to discuss Get the Money, a Muslim entrepreneur's lessons learned as he launched his own real estate venture in New York. Mohammed Bhutta is a founder and CEO of both Minaret Building Company and a real estate mogul group. He began his career in real estate after working in construction. He built his business with the early funding of family and friends, and now runs several successful businesses. Brother Mohammed.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Ahmed. Thanks for the intro. So today I'm just going to be talking about my experiences and my knowledge in terms of how I basically was able to raise funds and money to help me grow my businesses and just start investing in real estate. That's my bread and butter. So I'll get started. I guess I'll get started. So first of all, I do want to let everybody know I'm not a certified CPA or an attorney or a tax professional. Everything that I'm sharing with you guys is just from my personal experiences. So don't hold me accountable in terms of this is legal. By the way, I did make a lot of mistakes. Yeah, so I did make mistakes and everything like that. But right now, I'm just sharing my experiences and show you my my successes and everything that I've been through. So I'll share that with you guys. So what I'm going to be sharing and like the objective of what I want everybody to get out of this training is to understand, first of all, when should you raise money? What's the reason that you guys need to raise money for? Then we're going to be talking about where to get the money from, how to position yourself when raising money, how to manage the money in terms of like communicating with the investor, giving updates and everything like that. After the investment is complete, there is a whole process after that in terms of post-investment and relationship building strategies. And then I left the secret towards the end, so you guys could stay towards the whole webinar. But it's basically my recipe of the entire presentation if you ever do want to present anything. I can continue, right? Everybody?
Yep,
okay, sounds good. So I'm going to start off with, I think everybody's heard of Maslow's triangle, hierarchy of needs, psychological, food, water, shelter, and everything like that. In my case, I go from, this is my Meadows triangle. Meadows my nickname, by the way. So that's Meadows triangle. So it starts off from the top being faith. After that, family and friends. Then it's soccer, believe it or not, over entrepreneurship and business. So soccer is a high level. I don't know if it's in the description, but I was actually trying to be a professional soccer player, didn't make it. for whatever reasons. Obviously, I guess it was
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It's very hard. But soccer's just been it's just part of it is part of who I am, basically. So soccer and sports in general. I played everything, like, cricket, tennis, ping pong, volleyball. I just love sports in general, and I have a very big passion towards sports. So, and soccer being on that top of that hierarchy. So that's my triangle. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is very important because it does fall into the whole part of where you get money from as well. We'll get into that, and you'll get to understand why I shared this triangle with you. Here's kind of like my timeline in terms of what I've done and everything. So this way you guys have a better understanding. I graduated 2006. I graduated from New York Institute of Technology. It was in Science of Engineering Management. Then I started my own 2007, my own construction management and consulting company. I bought my first flip now in 2008. This was where I raised my first fund, so to say, which included money from my side. So when I was working, I was also working as a construction manager I was basically building high-end residential buildings in Williamsburg before the gentrification, before it is Williamsburg, what it is right now. So I was building high-end buildings over there. And that's kind of like where I got my construction management experience. I also got my real estate license because after that very first project, believe it or not, I lost a lot of money on that very first deal. Every mistake that you can think of, I made. I bought it above. I bought it too high. I spent too much money on the renovation. I didn't look at like village taxes. School district was horrible. Everything that you could possibly think of that could go wrong went wrong on that very first flip. Again, it'll come down to what I say is a key ingredient to whatever you're doing. You'll see the very first key ingredient is passion. Because if you don't have that passion or that desire to go, even when you fail, you're not going to succeed in whatever you're doing, especially when you're raising funds, right? But I'll get into that a little bit later as well. So because of that failure, I went in and I got my real estate license. Then I started my master's in construction administration. And by the way, the only reason I did my master's was for my dad. Literally, it was the only reason. I didn't want to do continuing education. It wasn't something that I did, but I have to thank my dad for that and my parents for, like, I guess. So my father's from Pakistan, my mom's from Egypt. As you guys know, like, education is a huge thing, right? Like for us in terms of growing up, you need to get your bachelor's, master's, sometimes doctorates. My dad did tell me to get my doctorate. I'm like, I'm good.
Please stop.
Yeah, exactly. Anyhow, I was lucky enough to get into Columbia University. I actually applied for NYU, but I didn't get into that. But I got into Columbia, which in the echelon of things, I think Columbia is higher than NYU. So I was happy that I got into Columbia. I got into Columbia, finished my master's over there. I started my investment fund around 2014. Again, this was when I started really getting serious in terms of raising funds for growth and everything. Then I started my real estate brokerage, 2015. Then I started my media company, which was like servicing my real estate and construction businesses. So all the photography, videography, and everything that I was doing it for myself now. Again, I had a passion for it. That's why I started it. It's not because I wanted to make money because of that or more money or anything like that. I can make a lot of money in other things, but I have a passion for, just the photography, videography, putting everything together, dealing with these types of people and seeing the end product for that. Then I got into, I got a little bit sidetracked, got into business of supply and demand in terms of artificial turf. And then now I have a Uno Fee Real Estate, which is providing online flat fee real estate services. for home sellers, or if they're looking to sell, if they don't want to use a conventional broker and they want to sell on their own and still be listed on the MLS, we can provide a service like that. That, in a nutshell, I do have other companies as well, but I'm not going to get into that. But that, in a nutshell, is everything that I've done. The reason why I share all of this is, in terms of raising money, I only did it for Real Estate Mogul Group. I didn't do it for anything else. I bootstrapped every other company. And we'll get into that a little bit later. So these were the different companies that I mentioned to you. So why do you raise money in the beginning? Now, if you're talking about software companies, these Airbnb companies that go out there, the reason why they raise money is, they do Series A, Series B, Series C. This is from my knowledge. And by the way, I'm not sure. They raise the money because it makes their valuation become higher. So I guess they sell it or whatever they do. That's kind of like their exit strategy. That's one way. That's one reason for raising money. Another reason for raising money is expansion and growth. You want to grow. You want to exponentially grow your business, whatever it is that you want to do. And to speed of implementation, basically, if it's taking you X amount of time to finish something, if you get more money, you can get more people to finish up your job. You could do whatever it is that you want to do. The reason why I raised money was I basically wanted to buy a house. I wanted to fix it, flip it, and sell it. I was very strapped in the sense that I was based off of Islamic Street. I didn't want to get hard money loans or anything like that. So I had to raise funds. Basically, I had to use leverage. I didn't have all the money to be able to purchase my first flip. So I had to sit down and then raise the money. So that's the reason why I raised money. So now, in terms of raising money, those are basically some of the reasons why you raise money. Where do you raise money from? Right? Like, this is the number one thing that for me, I had my own money, a little bit of my own money from the experiences that I had. I didn't have all the money, but I also had a good network of friends and family that I reached out to be able to acquire my first actual physical flip. So that's how I raise money. Other ways that you can raise money is through angel investors, through networking, and then venture capital investors. In like, angel investors are basically people that you don't know, and you need to pitch them about who you are and everything like that. And then they're coming in with their money. Venture capital investors, they're basically asset managers. They're coming in with they're managing money, and they look at you and they'll invest with you depending on whatever whatever business you're providing them. Friends and so I was able to raise money through all these different sources, and I'll tell you how. Friends and family was my first flip. That's how I raised my first flip money. Angel investors is when I became good at investing in real estate. I was able to show them case studies of how I was acquiring deals below market value, how I was basically completing the renovations on time, on budget, and I was managing the entire sale of the property, and I was showing them results. At that point, I felt comfortable enough to go in front of angel investors, basically people that I didn't know, and tell them about the whole what service that I provided, basically. Venture capital investors, and this is why I was telling you about my triangle, is how I got introduced to venture capital investors was, as you know, I'm playing soccer like almost every day. I try to play every day. That's literally the only thing that keeps me sane, because I work a lot. Like, literally, if I'm not with my family or something, I'm like literally working. And for me, it's not work, right? For me, it's like enjoyment. But so soccer was one of those things. So where is the money, guys? I think the first thing you guys have to understand, you have to know where your network is. So whether it's NYCMC, whether it's, for me, it was soccer, it was school, by the way. And this, I regret not building my network in college. So all those young kids that are out there and everything, and you're in college, guys, education, and I kid you not, education in Columbia University, the content that you learn from there, and the education from NYT and the education from Nassau Community College, they're the same thing. It's the only difference is sometimes the network that's there. Who's teaching you? Columbia University, I have Kofi Annan. He was teaching one of the courses. Kofi Annan, the UN Secretary General. You had Sunil Gulati, who was there. I'm walking down the 114th Street, 117th Street, that huge highway, the huge hallway, and I see presidents walking with their security guards and everything like that. So that's the difference, right? Like, you want to establish your network. That's one. So where do you get the money is your network, in my opinion. And then you go out there, you network, you let people know who you are, leverage their, if you don't have a place, you don't want to take them to Dunkin' Donuts, make a connection at your college, give me a meeting room or something like that. So those are very important. Like you need to think of those things, because I didn't do it. I started doing it when I was at Columbia because I saw everybody else over there doing it from business schools and everything like that. They were leveraging, here, come over here. NYT is the same. Nassau Community College is beautiful. My wife went to Nassau Community College. It has amazing facilities. I'm like, wow, so it's like leverage that. On top of that, not only the spaces, leverage the people that network with those people, network with your professors. Usually those professors are coming from high positions, basically, so networking. My Maslow's, my Meadows triangle was the people that I was hanging out the most with, which was in the soccer world. And in the soccer world, I was lucky enough to be some of the players. I found out they were hedge fund managers, and I didn't know. Oh, wow. And then I guess we linked up and this is how I found out the power of networking, because I was very introverted. I never, ever came up to people and told them, even at networking events, there was one event I remember. So one of my friends, he was manager for the Barcelona, New York City. If you guys know, Barcelona football club is one of the biggest teams in the world, for those that don't know. And they have a New York City office. So one of my friends, he's a marketing manager there. While he was there, he invited me to, so I guess PK, he's a central defender. He was coming and they were having this opening party. I don't know what was the reason. I don't remember. But while he was there, he told me, listen, we're having this party, come through. There's all these people are going to be there. There was this player who scored the Champions League final goal, a Brazilian player. I forgot his name. PK is going to be there. Barcelona is one of my favorite teams. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't need to do a lot of convincing. So I went, right? When I went there, the first person, as I walk in, I see Spike Lee on his phone all by himself. Had nothing, literally.
What are you going to say to Spike Lee, man?
I know. Then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna say nothing to him. I don't want to sound like a fan or nothing. But then I'm like, listen, that's so stupid. I should have said something to him. I have all these different businesses. I'm into sports. Even if it's nothing, I'd be like, listen, I would have been like, let me do something for, I have the media company. Let me give you something. Let's exchange contacts or something like that, because he's there with a similar passion, right? He's obviously there because he has a passion for FC Barcelona. So we can connect in that terms. I didn't say anything to him. I'm like, and then there was all these NBA players and all these other players. I didn't say nothing to them. I'm like, later on, I started realizing what I was like, damn, I should have done that. I don't think I still would have done it, but it's just I tell everybody, listen, you need to network. You need to come out of your shell. You need to let people know. The only reason I'm talking the way I'm talking right now, because I'm in my office right now, and that's it. And in front of public, I believe it or not, I'm not that comfortable, but I'm actually a mentor as well. I mentor professional athletes that are my friends and everything like that. And I help them in terms of getting, building their brands and everything like that. But that's something that I tell them to do a lot. So where is the money? If you have a very good product and everything like that, those are the different places that you can raise money from. Friends and family, angel investors, venture capital investors, and you need to build your triangle and figure out where you're hanging out the most. Or maybe you need to change that up. You need to go to other networking events, meetups, Facebook, whatever it is. You need to get into those groups and start networking a little bit more. So that's how I raised my money.
We had a question come up. Anybody, you're asking for advice for networking if you're an introvert. How did you overcome that hurdle?
I'm an introvert, so
so am I.
Yeah. So I basically, sometimes I kind of let my I basically sometimes I would show them my skills. So in terms of soccer, that was my way of like. I played good, and I was like quite, even on the field. I don't talk too much or anything like that. I'll get mad sometimes here and there, but that's the beauty for me. That's the beauty. That's a whole different topic. That's the beauty of soccer for me. Even sports in general, because it really exposes a person, whether it's under pressure, whether it's, that's why for me, sports is like an amazing thing. Like I love sports. So that was my way of
like your icebreaker.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I can say I had something similar. Like I had to get a hobby. I had to have something to talk about. Once I had something to talk about, then
exactly
makes it really easy. And this is natural for other people, but for introverts, like, what am I going to talk about? Like, what do I say to this person or that person? So soccer's yours. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And sports in general. So that was that. And so, yeah, entrepreneurship was another way. Whether if they're talking about, let's say the big thing that I'm into right now is like ClickFunnels, landing pages, and all these other different pages. And I'm like so into it right now. It's like the email marketing aspect of it, the Facebook marketing, the social media marketing, the storytelling aspect, all that. I'm so into it now. Like if anybody says, before it was real estate, right? Like if anybody was talking about real estate, I'm like, what was he saying or something like that? Now it's like, it's kind of like, landing pages or email marketing campaigns. So that's like what I'm focused on right now.
Which is actually, I think it's an important point, because for some people, it's like nobody wants to hear me talk about landing pages. There's always that person who's like, "Oh, what does this guy got to say?"
Yeah.
So please go ahead. So.
Exactly. I think my computer froze. 1 second. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay. So now in terms of positioning yourself when raising money. So now you do come across somebody who is willing to give you money. How do you come across to them? What do you do? What do you prepare and everything? Again, my number one thing is, and I tell people all the time, you need to have a passion for whatever it is that you're doing. And investors will see right through it. So at that time, even today, I really have a passion for real estate. I really have a passion for taking a distressed asset, creating a plan for it. It's like, it's very similar to, for me, it's very similar to soccer, right? Before a game, we analyze the team where, okay, we're going to play 4-4-2, or we're going to play this for a flip. Okay, we analyze the house. Okay, you know what? This is going to need a full gut rehab. We're going to need all these contractors. Let's create our team. We need the roofer, the plumber, the demo guys. We're going to create, everybody's there. And then we create a strategy on who's going to go first. And I explain to them, I show them everything, and I show them with numbers everything that I'm going to do. So you first of all, you need to have a passion, because they're going to read right through it. Because why that's important? Because when things do go bad, and they will, especially in any business, and I've done a lot, things do go bad, you need to be able to, your passion is your only fuel that you're going to have left. I still remember I had a house once, my very first house, actually. That's the one where I lost a lot of money in. We finished up the whole house. We made the whole, I'm telling you, we did everything wrong on that first house. We put carpet in the basement, and we did an open house, and we never do carpet in basements ever anymore. Like that's like, we never do it. I don't care if that foundation is made out of platinum. I still won't put carpet in that basement. So subconsciously that messed me up like for life. So we put carpet in that basement. We were ready for an open house. The night before the open house, there was a thunderstorm or something. We came an hour before the open house, and we literally saw like 3 inches of water in the basement. Like, I'm telling you, it was like, for us, like, there's some people that have been like panicked. That I had a business partner back then. Me and him, we looked at each other and we started laughing. We're like, damn, like, nothing else. And before that, we had all these other issues. We hired contractors from Home Depot, not contractors. They were like laborers. We were thinking that we were saving money at that point. Again, everything we did was wrong. We brought these day laborers. We told them to do the plumbing and everything like that. They did the plumbing. Leaks started coming through. But that wasn't the reason for the flood, though. But like before that, we were dealing with those issues. And when we finally finished up the entire house, Mother Nature hit us. So again, when that happened, me and Gotti, that was my business. He's still my business partner right now, actually. So we just changed directions. But yeah, I started looking at him. We were just laughing. We're like, bro, let's figure it out and let's just go. And then we did. That's what we did. We got a shop vac, open house coming to the we closed the door for the open house. Anybody from going into the basement, listen, basement's under construction. It's very dangerous. You can't come in, and that's it. But yeah, passion was what got us through there, right? Like if it was somebody else, they would have lost their mind. So knowledgeable. You really need to know your numbers. Like Shark Tank. Mr. Wonderful, yeah, he's always asking about numbers. You need to know your numbers. In my case, real estate's very cut and dry, very easy. I loved it. That's why I'm buying something. It's worth 100. I'm buying it for 60. I'm putting 20 in, and I'm selling it for this. I can prove it to you with comps. I can prove it to you with my team that's going to do a general contractor's estimate or something like that, and that's it basically. And then preparation. Prepare yourself with all that data when you're presenting to your investors. So again, we learned about where you're getting your money from and what you need when you're presenting. One of the things, maybe you guys can play a little bit of the video, but I'll explain to you what that video was. One of the things that I was actually doing was when I was going and presenting after family and friends level, I was starting to deal with a lot of angel investors. And it took a very long time. So whenever you're presenting to angel investors, and I'll show that to you in the secret recipe, one of the things that you need to do is you need to tell them about yourself. And then you need to tell them about what is it that you do. And then you need to tell them about the deal. And then you need to tell them about what they're investing, how much they're going to get back, how long it's going to be, and everything like that. It was very exhausting for me to go to angel investors and tell them about myself. Again, I was introverted in that sense. I didn't feel comfortable telling them about, how great I am or my experience in this, stuff like that. So what me and my partner at that point we did was, in order to kind of like, and this is one of my passions, systemization and automation for every single thing that I do. So I said, let's actually hire a company and let's answer all those questions ahead of time in that video, right? I'm going to let them know about who I am. So they know my credentials. I'm going to let them know what my product is, which is I buy distressed assets and I sell them and everything like that. And now instead of spending an hour or half an hour doing that process, I can actually take that video and instead of doing 5 meetings a week, I was basically sending out 20, 30 emails a week based off of, again, I was doing this. They were angel investors, but they weren't like, I wasn't publicly doing this because I know there's all these attorneys and stuff out there telling me, I can't publicly. Yes, I wasn't doing it that way. So I was in it to people that knew people that referred me to them. So I would send those out there. Hence, I didn't do Facebook ads with that video and all that stuff. I'll give you a little brief. You guys could show a little bit of it right now. And then maybe our first 2 minutes. So this way they can see what I was doing. And then show you, Adi, if you want to share that.
Like he's getting it queued up for us.
Okay. Yeah.
1 second. Bismillah.
My name is Mohammed, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Real Estate Mogul Group. I was born in Saudi Arabia. My dad is from Pakistan and my mom is from Egypt. I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia. I stayed there approximately 14 years. I came here actually through a lottery to the United States, a visa lottery, and then we decided to stay here. And from there, I basically moved here to high school, and then I went to college. I went to NYIT. I got my bachelor's in engineering management, and upon that I went to Columbia University and did my master's in construction administration. We always look for how can we provide value to our clients. So whether it's the seller, whether it's the buyer, whether it's the neighbors, and also the investors. Whenever we get a property, we evaluate how much it costs. We actually go out to the property, we take a look at how much work it needs. We put everything into our calculation sheet, our spreadsheet, make sure it's not all the numbers. Okay, so am I good to go? Okay.
Yeah, you should be good.
So that was an example. There obviously is a little bit more to the video, but that was an example that I was like, now when I was coming in front of investors, I'm not going through that whole process again, right? I'm talking to them about, I'm bringing the deal to them. Guys, here's the deal. Here are the numbers. This is what we're buying it for. And because that whole process from before, which believe it or not, took a long time. You know, they would ask these questions and everything like that. They get to know you. Sorry. So that part, I basically was able to cut, I was no longer doing that process. So, yeah, it was all about systemization and automation, figuring out how to optimize that process for me. And I was able to get a lot of meetings. And by the way, that video built credibility for me as well. People are not used to that. You know, people are not used to, oh, how'd you do that video? They would actually talk to me about that video. That was an amazing video or anything like that. Yeah. So that's another little secret that you guys can use. Just create a video, you know, like whatever product is that you're doing, basically.
Makes you look professional.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now the management. Now let's say you do get the money and everything like that. This is where you actually need to kind of like get outside assistance and hopefully it's attorneys that help you generate contracts, and you talk about you know, how the money is going to distribute, how much money you're getting, what's the collateral that they're having, in terms of who has what shares and everything like that. So this is where you get attorneys involved. Once you do get the money and you do handle that process. And this is where I see a lot of things not happen. And I learned from this as well, right? Keeping your investors informed during the process of what's going on. Usually my flips would take between 6 to 8 months. So, and by the way, I've also been on the angel investor side myself. So I've lent out money myself. So I know how frustrating it is that when you do give money and you don't hear back, or because they were all passionate and everything in the beginning, but then they don't hear back and you don't hear back during that investment process, is very frustrating, right? So always keep your investors informed. Have some sort of system, have some sort of like reporting, whether it's, you can even do it on social media or whatever it is. Tell whoever the investor is, listen, follow me on social media. I usually post whatever I'm doing on that. But it's always good to have that. Provide reporting, some sort of reports, guys. We're like 3/4 of the way done with this project and everything. And let them know about problems, by the way. Don't make everything's great. No, let them know about problems. This is a very important thing. I let my investors know, listen, we face this problem, but these are the different solutions that we've come up with. And this is the solution that this is a plan A that we're going with right now. plan B and plan C. That really helps you build credibility as well, that when you do face issues, that you can address them right away. So that's a very important thing that you need to do, whether it's real estate or whatever it is that you're doing, raising money from. And then when the investment is complete, distribute the funds. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, a lot of people think, oh, I finished the investment and everything like that. You're Gucci and you could, that's it. I really say that this is where you build and establish those relationships, because they're your bloodline for that specific business. And if it's not for that specific business, those people trusted you with their money, right? Like, it's not very easy. That's a very hard sell, that they will give you a significant amount of money because they trusted you, they trusted your product, and they're giving you that amount of money. So in my opinion, those are people that I really, they're the most important aspect of anything in my business, basically, right? Like, and I'll tell you a little bit about like what I've been through. Like, I've gotten into different investments and everything like that. There was one investment that literally broke my back. It wasn't too long ago. And the people that saved me were my investors. And it wasn't almost like even an investment. They basically came and they gave me money to get me out of that situation. They saved me from foreclosure. These are people that and they included family, friends, investors that were investors, right? Like they were angel investors at that point. But because of those relationships, and till this day, I still owe some money to those people. And I have it on my thing that one of my goals is to get my companies, and this is my personal goal, to that Jeff Bezos level. So I'm going to make sure those people come up with me. And because they trusted me, they're going to come up with me. That's how I look at my investors, right? That's like my thing. You know what? You trusted me and everything. And I really feel that this is how you need to look at your investors. Yes, you're going to have that investor that's going to call you every 2 seconds. Where's my money? Where's my, avoid those things. Ask for feedback from investors. Let them know, what is it that you didn't like about that process, about the process working for me, get those things, and then get testimonials, which will help you get more funds if you ever need it in the future as well. So so those are the investor building relationship tips that I can give you on that sense. Here's my secret recipe, guys. It's very simple. Establish credibility, let them know what security they have. In my case, it was real estate. Very simple. It's great. If I don't give them their money back, they have an asset that's less than what we bought it for. They can take over that. How long the investment is going to take, and what is their return on investment. That is basically the recipe. My video would discuss establishing credibility right away. It'll talk about the security, because it's real estate, and then longevity and return on investment. That's on a case-by-case basis, because each deal is different. Now we go in terms of the different types of leveraging models, right? Like, again, in the beginning, I was strictly, excuse me, I was strictly dealing with private money, and that's it. I later on learned about the power of leverage, right? Obviously, the options of using Islamic banks out there for investment purposes were not that great. I'm not going to get into the whole what you can do and everything like that. Anyhow, my research shows that whether you're going to get venture capital or anything like that, there are 4 different Islamic leveraging instruments that you have, that I'm showing on the screen right now, that you can use. And maybe if you can take that, look into these different types of instruments, and hopefully one of you guys can actually come up, create a bank, or bring these up to your lenders or something. Look, this is the Islamic way, or whatever it is. These are the different types of leveraging models that you have. Yeah, so those are mudaraba, which is a partnership, musharaka, which is equity partners participation. Which, by the way, that's the instrument that I was using for my contracts when I was dealing with investors. Murabaha, and then there's ijara, and that's, I think, in a nutshell,
Cool.
everything.
So
In terms
I'm
of,
gonna go ahead and post the link for people to join us on Zoom.
okay.
So that might get crazy here in a second. Everyone behave yourselves. While we're waiting for them, you and I talked before. And you talked about how your first flip went bad, right? You've told us that again now, but you told me earlier, your experience, what you did after that and how you treated those people. So I was hoping maybe you could relay that back to us again, because it goes to that relationship building you were talking about.
Yeah. So I lost 150 grand on that deal. Obviously there was a good portion of it was mine, but the rest was my family and friends. Again, passion, like I say, passion is the most important aspect of it. So for me, it wasn't like I needed to make sure, because those investors were my bloodline, right? And not only that, I felt like I let them down. I don't know if this also comes from, in team sports and everything like that. If I lose a ball or something like that, I'm like literally fighting to run back to get the ball back or something. In that mindset. So for me, it was, I lost the ball with that deal. I'm running back and I'm going to make sure that I get the ball back, or I'm doing whatever I can to defend. So that's kind of the analogy that I can give you. But I went ahead and I learned every mistake that was there. And by the way, that my fuel was passion, because I love real estate. I messed up. I just figured out, okay, I just wanted to figure out what I did wrong. I learned about distressed properties. I learned about short sales. I went and I did internships. By the way, I did an enormous amount of crazy amounts of internships for free, by the way, not telling them, I told them, listen, just let me learn about this and I'll be a sponge and I'll provide you X, Y, and Z. Right. I did that. I learned everything I worked as an REO manager. So bank foreclosed deals. I was the one who was dealing with whenever an asset manager had a property, they would give it to our brokerage. I would be the one who would take that property and basically reach out to the house, make sure that there's nobody inside the house. If there was, I would offer them cash for keys. If they didn't want to move cash for keys, I would get the attorneys involved, be like, listen, we need to do an eviction process. Once the property was vacated, we winterized it. We did the entire process. So I learned about that. I saw the insides and outs of everything because of that mess up. It didn't like, I hate real estate, I'm not getting into it. On the contrary, it made me want to go deeper. I got my real estate license. Now I have my own brokerage, by the way, as well. Like awesome. 15, 18.
We have one person who's joined us on Zoom. Okay. Zach, I don't know, Zach, if you have a question or you want to share.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I have a question. I'm actually in I'm in a certain profession. I find myself not to be unhappy in it, and I've been, really thinking about changing my career. And one of the things that I had on my mind was getting into real estate. What would you recommend in terms of how to start out this process?
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just going to repeat the question. So you're saying you're unhappy at your current position and you're looking to get into real estate?
Yeah.
Okay, so real estate is a vast field, right? Like you have the investment side of real estate, you have the sales side of real estate, like becoming an agent, real estate agent, where you take the 75-hour course and then you get an agent and then you sell other people's properties. That's that part of real estate. And within that sales and things, you have rentals, you have buyers, you have sellers, and then you have different categories. You have residential, you have commercial, you have all these different categories. So there's real estate sales. My two things are real estate investments, which again, it's on I guess a small level, where I started off with buying single family homes, fixing them up, and then selling them as an investment property, as investments. And then there's the sales side. This is where you need to you need to be good at speaking to people and everything like that. Even though I was introverted, I did it anyways, but that's how I was able to become good at sales or become good. I had to do it. But yeah, so you need to differentiate between in real estate, because it is an ocean. Identify your lanes, what you'd be happy with, and go that route. And sometimes you don't know what you like, and that may be the situation with you. You don't know whether it's investments or sales because you just haven't been exposed.
Right.
I recommend going on YouTube, going on things, and look at the different types of things that are on. I mean, HGTV, they're always flipping houses. The sales side, I watch $1 Million Listing. But just so you know, those things are. I actually did a deal with one of the $1 Million. Yeah, I did a deal with Steve. It wasn't me. One of my agents did a deal with Steve Gold, I think. Yeah. But yeah, so I was asking my agent that dealt with him how it was. I'm not gonna say him, but yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, those are like good shows to get like motivated and everything like that. Understand what getting into contract is, what inspections means, what appraisals are, and everything like that. So
is there besides those platforms like YouTube and other things, is there any way to get that information in a more, like, I guess, academic way?
Academically, you could do your 75-hour course and do it that way, or do an internship. Try to go in terms of, the best experience you could get are through actually doing it. So maybe reach out to whatever you want to do. Again, if you want to do a sales, then you want to reach out to a sales organization, whatever it is, and then look for, very important that you look for a mentor. That is really going to, and every brokerage markets that they have mentors and everything, but just make sure they do provide you that mentor and everything. Then if it's the sales side, if it's the investment side, look for that mentor as well. So
okay, I'm going to just follow up with that. Another question: how do we find a mentor? Let's say, let's say for argument's sake, I want to do investments. How would I find a mentor to help me learn?
So it's a good question, by the way. In the beginning, what I did was I would go and Jim Hewitt Real Estate was the guy that I went to in Meatpacking District in the city. I went to him and I told him, listen, I'm very interested in working with you, because after I had that failed experience with my first home, he was in the short sale game and everything like that. Okay. I told him, listen, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. And this is how I present. I present, because just so you know, people that are busy and successful people have a staff to hire other people. So they're not even if you're trying to give them free labor or internships or anything like that, they don't want to. That's another job. If somebody comes to me and tells me they're going to come work for me for free, whatever it is, I have to sit down. I have to get out of my zone and think about what is it that I can have this guy do. And then I'm not sure. I'm taking the risk of not sure if this guy's going to be good enough or not. So what I did was I researched the company. I figured out what my strengths were. I understood. I went to him with, listen, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you. In exchange, let me just be a sponge. I'm not going to be late. I'm going to make sure that you're there. And I was literally a sponge. I learned everything that was there. And in exchange for that free labor, so that's one way that you could do it. If you're reaching out, don't just tell them I'm coming to do work for free, because the best people will send you away. Most of the time will send you away. Right. So you want to go to them with something that you're good at. So one good thing I could tell people is, like, if you're good at social media marketing and they don't have a social media manager, tell them, look, I'll manage your social media campaigns. And the benefits of having a social media campaign person is X, Y, and Z. They'll be like, okay, this guy's bringing something to me, so.
Right. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
No Thank you, sir. We had another question that came up in chat earlier. I didn't know whether you would have much of an answer for it since it's not in real estate. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Maybe you have an idea, or maybe you have somewhere to point someone because you're in the community. Asker says they're a trader and manage money for a few friends and family. How can they scale into being a manager of a halal hedge fund? They've seen it's extremely costly to launch one. Do you have any thoughts?
No clue. Trading.
That's what I was afraid of. Yeah.
Trading is one of those things that, again, I get very, very scared. Main reason, I don't have control of what I'm trading, basically. Like that company or whatever it is, it's just, I have very, very limited, I guess, thing. But I know traders, they have these things where they have stop loss. So there's like these skills that they have and stuff like that. But I have no idea about that.
I think the best answer is I don't know. It's one of my favorites. And I will say, at least from my part, you're going to have to find people in that industry to talk to about it. It's going to be very difficult to go from managing your friends and family, unless your friends and family are multimillionaires, to doing a hedge fund. There might be an interim step you might consider, but talk to people in that industry and they can definitely help point you in the right direction. Unfortunately, we're not the right people. Another person asked, go ahead.
By the way, I am not a proponent of raising funds just for the sake of raising funds. It is a job, guys. It's another scope of work to whatever else that you're doing. If I had it my way, I would not take a single penny from anybody. Obviously, I'm super grateful for all the people that have invested with me and everything like that.
Right. It's not what that's about.
It is another job. You know, you're taking these calls and sometimes, you know, it's everything that I told you, contract management, making sure that they're up to date with everything. Sometimes it's not even your fault or their fault. They may have I had a person who had an emergency that I had to basically find somebody to buy him out because the other person had an emergency, right? So I had to raise money all of a sudden because of an emergency for that person to give that person their money back, you know? So raising fund, I try to bootstrap all the companies that I showed you that I'm doing. There's only one that I raise funds on. And all the other ones, they're bootstrap. Bootstrap meaning that you finance everything yourself.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So the other question that did come up should be more up your alley. It's in real estate. This person writes, I currently own property, but I would like to get into a more lucrative part of real estate. How can one find out more about tax liens? What information, if any, can you share on that?
I tried to look into tax liens and everything like that. I did courses on them. I believe I've never done it, so I can't say anything on it, but I know there are people out there that have done it. So I know there's a tremendous amount of competition for tax liens, especially in New York. So finding somebody, an experienced person, and by the way, don't get somebody from Colorado or Nebraska to teach you about tax liens there, because tax liens differentiate between counties, not even states, between counties. So yeah, that would be something that I would look into, because that's another arm of finding distressed assets, tax liens. Yeah, but I've never done it, but I know it's a very lucrative thing out there. But finding somebody who has experience in that in the county that you're looking to do would be the best person you would reach out to.
Excellent. Thank you, brother. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, brother Mohammed, for speaking with us. You're very engaging. I think we all enjoyed it. Definitely appreciate hearing the story. And I know a lot of times in my past experience, for some people, their faith and business just go different ways, right? Yeah. And so I very much appreciate it. At the very least, you having that element of concern and bringing up for us and showing people an example of a person who's took their faith seriously and guided their fundraising efforts to comply with the faith. So I appreciate your sharing that part of your story with us. So alhamdulillah.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Next week, we're going to be here again. We have session 5 on a Tuesday at 6 p.m. So same time. We're going to have Sister Nili Nasser Faruqi, who will be talking about how to take care of ourselves. Self-care for entrepreneurs is sometimes one of the things that falls to the wayside as all the pressures build up around you. So hopefully this is going to help us address how to make sure we take care of our mental, emotional health, and keep our relationships up with our family and friends, if for no other reason, to raise money from them later. I'm just kidding. No, just keeping our friends and family in the right place. So inshallah, join us next week. Look for an email from us for the link for that. And inshallah, we look forward to seeing you all then, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wallah sarhin wa insana la fi khusrin wa ladhina amanu wa salihati wa tawassul haqq wa tawassul sabr. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Rahmatullah.